let's not fight anymore. We had a pretty big off-air fight.
Good evening.
What did you say?
Welcome.
That was a downright Donnie.
Welcome to I Don't Disagree.
We were
should have seen us 5 minutes ago.
We were disagreeing for sure.
But that's all right. That's part of the show, and that's why we do it, because not only do we love talking about sports, but we learn a lot about ourselves.
That's true.
And hopefully we grow and we learn about what really matters. Not that I don't love sports. I'll always love sports. But at some point you have to draw a line in the sand, because if someone did that sooner, maybe some of this shit wouldn't still be going on. But it's never happened. So anyway, hey, guess what? We're going to be talking about this tonight.
Let's not get too deep right now.
But as IDD, I'm RJ. That is the redoubtable Tom Izzo himself. We're going to start with baseball tonight. The Mets in a thriller of a talk about a lot of that game. Wow, that was a definition of a Donnybrook, and I think Donnie might have been in the stands. It was that good. The Mets prevailed 10-9. They came back. They were trailing most of the game, and they finally broke through. I think it was the eighth inning, right? Was it the eighth inning?
Too much. I'm going to paint the whole picture.
Tom's going to paint the picture, but anyway, I was checking in. I must have checked in 4 times, and every time I checked in, they were losing. And at last check was the home run that put Philly ahead, but I missed the hit. I just saw the guy rounding third. But anyway, I'm going to let Tom take it from here, because he watched this most of it, and he'll explain why the word is most.
It was on. The entire game was on.
Yeah.
There were some points where I was asleep.
Yes.
So, Mets-Phillies, last of a 4-game series. Game started at 1:30. Did not end until 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. There was a 25-minute rain delay, something like that. So
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
It was about a 5-hour game, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
it didn't go into extra innings.
No,
it didn't even go into extra
innings. It was a 9-inning game that went 5 hours. Yep. But seemed like more than that, you know, because of the rain delay.
Sure.
So Mets were starting. I think it was their number 10 starter. So yesterday in a doubleheader, they pitched their 7 and 8 starters. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about at the start of the year. This is where these guys would have been
slated. Yeah, this is injuries and things like that.
Right.
Days,
Injuries, doubleheaders, things like that. Yeah. So you start this guy, Jose Butto. Man, there's a moth going at it on the screen.
Anyway, keep going.
Butto comes in, gives up 4 runs in the first inning. It was like, man, this sucks.
Spalding is Caulfield, Billy Baru.
Yeah. Mets come back at 2 in the second. Get a couple more runs after that. They tied at 4. Butto is still in the game. He's actually settled down. It's the 4th inning. Gives up another 3-run homer. Both of these homers that he gave up were to Alex Bohm. Total of 7 runs. Mets are down 7-4. I start to get really pissed off. Because at 4-4, I'm like, man, it'd be nice to come back and win this game. Braves are losing. So I tell Casey, I'm like, all right, I'm going upstairs to take a nap. So I lay down. I've got the game on my pillow, fall asleep during the rain delay, and because the rain comes. The Mets are down 7-4. Yep. I fall asleep.
Isn't that the worst time for a rain delay too?
Yeah.
When your team's behind, now you're already pissed.
Yeah, I'm like, just end the game now.
Yeah, just like end it. When they're coming up. No, you're not. You're gonna wait. You're gonna wait a while.
So also, while this was happening, after the first guy made his major league debut for the Mets, Butto, and gave up 7 runs, the next pitcher they brought in, I believe his name was Fisher. Last summer, he was working at a bank in Omaha as a loan analyst or something like that. So this guy who has not made his major league debut, was a journeyman at best, was working in a bank a year ago. Mets sign him, call him up, and he goes 3 scoreless innings against the Phillies.
Yep.
Okay, this happens like before the rain delay and after. Mm-hmm. And I wake up, all this has happened, the game is tied at 7-7. So after a wind, I see that Mark Canha hit a 3-run homer to tie it up. This is awesome. Okay, it's 7-7. Then going into, I guess it was the bottom of the 8th, Trevor May comes in, and Trevor May is no bueno from the bullpen. Immediately gives up a pinch hit home run to Gene Segura, and now I'm pissed again because the Mets are going to lose. Mm-hmm. Canha comes up in the top of the 9th, hits a 2-run homer. Mets go up 9-8. Brandon Nimmo follows up with another solo homer. Mets go up 10-8. And then in the bottom of the ninth, Edwin Diaz almost blows it. The guy who's been almost perfect all year.
Yeah. Against a good team.
Against a good team.
They're a good team.
No, I wouldn't have been down on him. But he saves it 10-9. Yeah. Funny thing is, when the Phillies were winning 7-4, Ron Darling, one of the Mets announcers, goes, this kind of feels like a 10-9 game anyway. And I was like, well, he called it.
This is the thing about two definitively good teams is that they can have they have the capability of having a 1-0 drag out game, and they can have fireworks because they win in a multitude of ways, and good teams do. So teams like that are capable of winning either way. So when they engage, can this happen? Yes, it can. Okay, I've seen the Red Sox and Yankees do it many times over the years when they were both good. So it's nothing new. Okay, so but yeah, then tomorrow those two teams are capable of a 2-1 game. Or a 1, you know what I mean, like that. So that's how they both are. Yeah. This is why I think they're both going to probably be in the postseason because they both can win either way.
Yeah.
So I'd be shocked. I know the Mets are there. The Braves, the Phillies, I would be shocked if they didn't get there. Yeah. Barring injury, of course.
Well, because right now I think the Phillies are better than San Diego.
I think they are. I would agree with you.
Which is weird. Yeah. San Diego should be better.
Well, this is the thing. They've got the pitching. Is good. They've got a solid. I wouldn't say Philly has a great lineup, but it's a good line. It's a solid lineup. It's not a. They can get runs.
It's pretty deep.
It's a solid top 1 through. It's a solid lineup. So they don't have a judge on the pay or a guy like that. But I mean,
once they get Harper back, it'll be really deep.
Yeah, but they're a solid deep bench that can get runs in a lot of ways. They're not bound by the long ball. It's not small ball. They can do either one. So versatility. Great teams.
They like that long ball, though.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't? But I mean, but they can win in a multitude of ways, much like the Mets, who are now 35 games over 500 right now. Yeah. I mean, they are rolling.
And they go into the Bronx tomorrow night.
Yeah, with the Yankees, who did pull out a win today against Toronto. Toronto's another one.
And the Braves lost.
The Braves lost it to Houston, another good one.
The Braves took 2 out of 3 from Houston.
Yeah, well, the Braves are good. They're the defending world champs. This is no accident.
So sick of them.
Yeah, I know. I know why you're sick. You're sick of them. The reason why I'm sick of the Yankees.
Braves are 8-2 in their last 10.
They're making a push.
They've been making a push for 4 months.
And you're still 4 games up.
That's why I give the Mets a lot of credit.
Your team's legit.
The Braves have been hot for 4 months.
Yeah, and the Mets are still in first because the Mets are a good, consistent team that's deep. And they got they got dogs in that lineup. These guys know how to win out, how to play out a season like this. A lot of them have already been through it.
Dude, they keep pulling people up from the minors that are doing things.
Yeah, but it's the culture now. The culture of that locker room has changed. That's the difference. You bring in guys, like you said it yourself, there are guys that just know how to find ways to win. They're not the 300 hitter, but they know in a situation how they got guys like this. They didn't have them before. And you admit that. They didn't have guys like this before. Before, when they got behind, they would lose a game like that last year. No way.
Oh, yeah.
No way. I mean, unless Scherzer was on the mound.
First half of last year.
Yeah, they were pretty good, right? They were good.
Last quarter
here when they folded, yeah. So, but the bottom line is this team is built to not fold. Okay? So, but that's what I'm talking about. Management's like, all right, we got to.
It's just hard for us Mets fans to 100% say things like that with confidence.
Dude, I understand.
Because sometimes it seems like every time we finally 100% believe, that's when the rug gets pulled.
I was 31 years old when the Red Sox finally ended that stupid, ridiculous, overblown curse. I had to hear about it every effing day of my life, and they weren't even my favorite team. It was the Celtics and the Patriots, 1 and 1A. And all I would hear about, didn't matter what was going on until Tom Brady showed up, and Larry Bird being the lone exception. It was always a Red Sox town, except when Larry Bird was there and when Tom Brady showed up. Okay, other than that, didn't matter what the Bruins were doing, didn't matter what the Patriots were doing, didn't matter. It was the Red Sox town. Okay, so all day, every day for 31 years until they finally broke that, whatever you want to call it, with the greatest comeback in the history of sports, that comeback. Okay, said comeback, not upset, comeback. Okay, because it wasn't an upset. They should have beat them the year before. But anyway, the Mets right now, you look at this team. They are built for the long haul. They can sustain a 3-4 game slump if they have it because they have depth and they can win in a multitude of ways. They got not one but 2 aces. Okay, at the top of that lineup. Okay, and that lineup 1 through 9 is deep. They don't have a lot of holes. And they can come back. They can come back like that. I remember when the Red Sox won in 2018. They won games like this in 2018. I saw the Red Sox do this a few times, so I'm not surprised. I don't want to jinx this team, but the reality is, teams that win like that, those are the teams that you get to October, they are going to have a legitimate, barring injury, shot. So it was legit. A great win by them today. Every time I looked up, they were losing, so I'm like, they're not winning this game. And they're playing a good team, but they found a way to pull it up. So in terms of going through the league, we're going to do a rundown. The Red Sox, at last check, did tie it with Baltimore in the 8th. They were 2-2 in that slugfest, that Donnybrook. Yankees did come back and beat the Jays today to salvage that game. So, but to Tom's point, we were talking about this off the air, how the Yankees have really, wow. Is it over a month now they've been in this kind of, it's been a month, right? It's been a month.
No, I think it's
Solid
been
month?
a month and a half.
Really? 6 weeks, okay.
Let's see if I can. So they're 3-7 in their last
10. Yeah, it's been going on. But how long has it been? I think it's a month. Is it more than a month?
I think it's more than a
Okay.
month.
All right.
I wish I could find some.
Yeah. When they had their first
see.
losing streak. I mean, it started with a 5-game losing streak, and it was blowing up about that. They hadn't lost more than 3 all year, and suddenly they were at 5, and then it became a real problem. And then they've stayed in this snowball pat, whatever it is.
I want to say they've been hurting for a month and a half.
They have some injuries, right? But anything major? Are they missing a frontline star?
They've got a few things that happened to them. Their bullpen was kind of some weird names were overperforming. Mm-hmm. This guy, Clay Holmes, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he was this nasty closer, not giving up anything. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden,
back to earth.
Yeah, all of a sudden, he blew a couple saves and he's out of the closer job.
Yeah.
There's another guy, Mike King, I think, who was their 8th inning guy. I think he might have got hurt.
Yeah.
Severino, one of their starting pitchers, I think he got shut down. I don't know if it was an injury or just an innings limit because he's been injured a lot. He's nasty.
Yeah.
But he can't stay healthy. So I think several things have happened. Now Stanton has been out since basically
I know about
the
him.
All-Star break.
Yeah, he's been out.
And he was having a really good year.
Yeah, he was. He was.
So I think a lot of things have kind of happened.
Uh-huh.
Aaron Hicks has been struggling. Mm-hmm. Josh Donaldson playing down. It's almost as if they played up the first half of they played out of their minds.
The other thing, and this is not the other thing, is they play in the best division in baseball.
I don't know about that.
They do. Toronto and Tampa Bay are and look at what Baltimore's been doing. I mean, come on.
The only reason I question it is because of the NL East.
Yeah, the NL East is not 5 deep.
I know.
If the Red Sox win tonight, they're at 500. They're the worst team in that division.
I know. That I know. And it's hard to argue that. But the Mets are the only first place team that is 30 games over 500 and has another team behind them that's 20-something games over 500 and another team behind them that's 12 games over.
The other team is the defending world champions.
Right.
Okay. So, and I'm not saying that's
you might have 200 game winners.
That's all right.
Well,
that's 2
not.
teams. I'm talking about the depth of the East.
Mm-hmm.
There's 5 teams. As much as I want to get on the Red Sox, if the Red Sox were in that division, they'd probably be 10 games over 500. They probably would be. Yeah, because they can't beat Tampa Bay. They're
because I think a month or two ago I would have said that.
But
now I wonder
if they win tonight, they are 500. And Baltimore, who they're tied with, is the one that first crept. These two are, and Baltimore is only 3 games out of the wild card.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at
you're right.
You look at that top to bottom. The Yankees, part of it is injuries. I agree with that, but I think it's a multitude of things. Mm-hmm. They play in a very tough division that even when you think you have a night off, you don't have enough. They're the worst team in the division is their longtime rival, the Red Sox, who when they see them, they see blood. Okay, so they're going to find a way for no other reason because it's the Yankees. That's the worst team in their division right now. Okay, and if they win, they're 62-62. So I think the top 2 in that division, maybe, yeah, I agree with you. But after that, the Phillies are good, but I think both Tampa and Toronto are better than the Phillies.
I don't know about that.
I think they are. It's close, but I think they are. And then Baltimore, I don't even know what to say, but they have been on a roll for 7
years. They're better than Boston.
They are. Okay, Boston doesn't have their ace. That's a big problem. You can't lose a guy who's a 20-game winner and you don't have much behind him. That really sets you back.
Yeah.
You don't have a closer. Okay, you're relying on your lineup. It's just, ugh. So, and then you trade the one they did deadline. They got rid of the catcher who helped them win the World Series, who was batting .282. Yeah, let's get rid of him. Yeah, for a guy who bats 10 points less.
Yeah, I don't understand.
What that trade was all about.
And they traded for Tommy Pham.
Yeah, who's pretty good, but I mean, that doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, and you know who I saw in the Bronx this weekend helping the Blue Jays beat the Yankees?
Benintendi.
No. Well, him too, but he's on the Yankees.
He's on the Yankees.
You know who I saw on the Blue Jays?
Who?
Who hit an RBI double off the Yankees?
Who?
Jackie Bradley Jr. is playing for the Blue Jays.
Well, he didn't do anything. They shouldn't have got rid of him, but he was in a massive slump.
Well,
when they dumped him, he was batting worse than I am. Okay, so and that's saying a lot. So, but
yeah, I didn't bring that up to say they made a mistake with him, just to say like,
but that's how it works.
Yeah,
that's how it always works. And they come back in your division for what, and they start helping them win, right? Because now you've motivated them, you pissed them off.
Right. Exactly.
It's like
you gave up on him.
Yeah, you gave up on him. And Jackie Bradley Jr. was a good Red Sox. I liked him. He's a great defensive player.
He won a championship.
He helped you win.
Right?
He helped you win a world. Yeah, he was part of that group. Now they're basically Devers. I think is the last one from that group of four, which was Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts, and Devers. I think he's the last one from that group. That was supposed to be the core. They all came up in the Red Sox farm, but three of them are gone. Okay? And here we sit tonight, and they're trying to get to 500 against the goddamn Baltimore Orioles, who they're looking up at. Okay? Baltimore's having a great year for them, but they haven't had a year like this for who knows how long. So, anyway.
Did you see Aaron Boone smack the table
in
the press conference?
No, didn't.
So, a reporter asked him a question about the slump, and he started talking about it. He's like, it's right there in front of us. And he smacks the table, and he's like, and we can fix it. Yeah. We can fix it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
well, he's got talent up and down the roster. He can't. I mean, he's not wrong there. But I think part of it. It's not all his. It's part of it's injuries. Part of it's the division they play in. That does. It's not all of it. Some of it's on them. But this is you have. It's usually when you get in a slump like this, there's a lot of things going on. It's not one thing.
Of course.
Okay. So I think all those things. Excuse me. I think all those factors come into play with the Yankees. And coincidentally, if it weren't bad enough, now that the across town team is looking like if it weren't for the damn Dodgers, who right now are on a fucking, they're 48 games over 500. The Dodgers, and they won 10-3 today.
The Yankees are 22 games.
Yeah, think about what's happened. The shift in a matter of weeks here between those two, who look there. But the Yankees were ahead for now. The Dodgers look like oh my god. The
Dodgers are ridiculous.
They're ridiculous right now. I mean, but again, they've got there's Mookie Betts. Hey, would have stayed in Boston. You cheap fucks. Okay, you wouldn't. I mean, they've got talent up and down that roster. And they got a manager who knows how to manage. They got everything. They got the front office willing to spend the money. They do their homework. They add to what they have. They got a good manager. They got everything in LA right now. So
they're top of their order.
Oh, it's frightening.
I think they lead off with Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Who's second in that order?
I don't know. I looked at it today. I threw up.
I think it might be Betts, Freddie Freeman.
I can tell you.
Trey Turner.
I can tell you who it is.
That top 3 or 4 is
filthy.
They're
filthy. It's not even right. I mean, it's just like, it's almost unfair. You're like, are you kidding me? Like, what the hell? I mean, so they beat the Marlins. The Marlins stink, but they beat them 10-3. And the Dodgers, it's Betts, Turner, Freeman, Smith, Muncy's the third baseman. The DH is Turner. Lux is the second. He bats .295. He's the 7 guy. And then you got the second baseman, Alberto, at .244.
And that's not even, Muncy's not even in there.
Yeah, he is. He's third base. He's batting 190. But he was 2 for 4. He was 2 for 4.
He's had a bad start to the season.
Yeah, but he's 2 for 4 today with 2 RBIs. So maybe that's going to end because
and then you got Cody Bellinger in there.
Yep.
Who?
Yeah, Bellinger the catcher.
Bellinger's center fielder.
Oh, I'm sorry. C. Bellinger's right. Yeah, center fielder. I'm sorry. So he had 2 RBIs. Cody. He had 2 RBIs today.
See, but his average is probably trash too.
It is. Yeah.
He was an MVP candidate. Or maybe he won the MVP.
Yeah. I think he was a candidate at least. So anyway, they've got talent up and down the lineup, and their pitching is awesome. They can
be beaten.
Anybody can be beaten.
No one can beat them.
No one's invincible. That's why I love it. And I think there's legitimately 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams that I could see winning this thing, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Really, there's 6, maybe 6, and the Mets are one of them. So when this is over, because it's going to be a hell of a playoff. If these teams are healthy, this is going to be fun right now because there's a lot of these teams can win in a number of ways, and they match up well against each other. A lot of them. I mean, all these matchups are going to be very interesting.
Dude,
Ready for a second?
I think so.
Yes.
Maybe we should stop and.
We're going to stop this. We're going to come back and switch over to football talk, NFL preseason. We're going to talk about the ruling because all the meat puppets everywhere have talked about the Deshaun Watson ruling. Tom and I are going to chime in on that tonight because we were off. But we've got some perspective. I actually read the whole document of the findings by the female judge who ruled this 6th game. And the NFL was actually asking for the season initially. And then, so we'll go into how this is written and really what needs to be done here by not only the 32 billionaires who signed off on this code of conduct, but the NFLPA who ought to be ashamed of themselves. Because when I tell you their defense of this, any person with knows morality is going to go, are you kidding me? But he's got a point. Letter of the law has to be followed. But I've always contended the law and morality aren't always the same thing. And sometimes the law ain't right, it needs to be amended. And this is a perfect example of that. So we'll get into that when we come back after the break. You guys get another frosty beverage or a dessert.
I'm not saying the letter of the law has to be followed.
It shouldn't be.
I'm saying that's what's happening.
At some point you have to do the right thing, and these people had the power to do it, but they didn't. And they sat on this precedent that everybody knows is wrong. Anyway, we'll get into that after the break. You get that.
But don't put me on the other side of that argument.
I didn't say you're on the other side of the argument.
You did.
No, what I said was you have a point. The letter of the law does say you have to follow it and lose nothing else. But there has to come a time when that has to change.
Sure, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It has to change. You can't just do that and change it.
Of course.
But unless you're 32 billionaires, you're going to be able to do that and change a lot of things. Right, Mr. Kraft? Okay, so...
And I'll continue to eat sunflower seeds.
Yes, and you guys, if the wife's not looking, grab the dessert that you want, and we'll catch it. Oh, like I'm alone on that. Okay?
We could have other genders out there watching us.
That's true. Ladies, if he's not looking and you want that crispy, go get it.
Thadies.
Yeah.
There could be some thadies out there.
Them too. You're all welcome. We're all in the trust tree here.
Gentle thems.
Gentle hems, yeah, absolutely. So you guys grab that. We'll be back on the other side, okay?